In this video, I'm breaking down the science of creatine and in which cases it might boost your memory and brain performance even on no sleep. And I'll also share my own experience with using creatine supplements for many years and what benefits I've noticed and what kind of practical insights I've gotten. So what do the studies say about supplementing with creatine? There are a few important cases in which it might be especially beneficial. The first case is stress or sleep loss. Let's look at the data. So in one study, they kept participants awake for 21 hours, which is quite brutal. So that was a significant sleep loss for the participants. And then at least they give them single high dose of creatine. And the results were that their processing speed improved nearly by 24% and working memory nearly by 10%. And their cognitive fatigue dropped significantly. These effects already showed after 3 to 4 hours of the creatine supplementation, and they lasted up to 9 hours. So I would say for someone, this might just save an important day after a significant sleep loss. Another case in which creatine might benefit your brain is if you are a vegetarian. And why this is a case? Because vegetarian diet doesn't contain a lot of dietary sources of creatine. Now there is a little bit of creatine in eggs and legumes and lentils and those kind of things, but the levels are not comparable to what's found in meat and fish. So that said, let's look at this randomized controlled trial where they gave 5 grams of creatine to vegetarians for 6 weeks. And what they found is that the participants in this study had significantly improved performance in certain tasks that requires a lot of effort from the prefrontal cortex. And here's the twist. In one study, they gave both the vegetarian population and omnivores creatine supplementation, and then they measured their performance in the same memory task, and they found that only the scores of vegetarians actually improved. So it's possible that because of the omnivore diet already replenishes the creatine stores in the body and brain for the omnivores, they are not seeing that much improvement anymore after supplementing with creatine. So let's look at how creatine actually works in the brain. So inside the brain cells, creatine helps to regenerate ATP, the body's primary energy currency. And during periods of high demand, such as sleep deprivation, intense cognitive effort, some sort of brain trauma, inflammation, or even mental health conditions, neurons require rapid source of energy. And here where creatine steps in. So it helps to rapidly regenerate ATP and rapidly provide energy. And the enzyme creatine kinase, which makes this phosphate transfer possible, is especially concentrated in high-demanding brain areas such as the hippocampus and the cerebellum. So before I discuss my own experience with creatine supplementation, I just want to briefly recap what I just said. So according to multiple trials and even systematic reviews, creatine seems to especially benefit people in very specific situations, like if you have low baseline creatine intake, if you're a vegetarian or you're plant-based, older adults actually as well, 60 plus people, because their brain mitochondria is already a little bit slower. And also there might be some dietary contributions to this, such as simply not eating enough animal-based protein. Creatine may also help people who are significantly sleep deprived or under high mental or physical distress. And finally, it might also be beneficial for people who are recovering from some sort of brain-related illnesses such as long COVID or concussion or chronic fatigue syndrome or alike. The typical doses that they use in studies range between 1 grams and 5 grams. So let's just briefly review my personal experience because I've used creatine supplements for years and I do find it very useful for a few things. So back in the day when I was mostly plant-based, I wasn't surely getting these 1 to 3 grams of creatine from my diet every single day, which is usually what we need to replenish the creatine stores. I used creatine and I found it helpful. I felt better at the gym, better just cognitively, my mental performance was better. It wasn't like magical or supreme, it was just a little bit of a lift and I really liked it. So I kept using it for periods of time, maybe 1 month, 2 months at a time. And I think it was good. So it kind of stabilized the energy levels. Currently, I eat meat, I eat fish, I eat eggs, I eat plenty of sources of creatine as well during my day, and I don't take it daily. I don't feel the need, also because I'm not pushing super hard at the gym, and I can recover quite well from the workouts that I do. But sometimes if I push harder, or if I want to push harder, I add a few grams of creatine just to get that boost. I also noticed that it really helps during travels. So now I use it in rotation for jet lag or sleep debt or periods of very intense focus, or if I'm sick or something like that. My experience is that 1 to 2 grams a day is enough for me. I know many people who take up to 5 grams a day and feels that that's the best thing ever. If you feel like that, go for it. But I would say if you get a lot of dietary creatine, you may not notice a lot of extra boost after that few grams, unless your brain's energy production is severely depleted. Also, it's good to know that creatine does cross the blood-brain barrier, so your brain has dedicated transporters to guide the creatine where it needs to go. Another important point is that you can make creatine internally from the precursors, but only if your methylation pathway is working optimally, so also make sure that that's in check. So I would rank creatine to be a very low risk, high reward supplement for those who need it. So let me know in the comments if you have any experiences with creatine. Have you noticed any mental lift when you're using creatine supplementation? I hope this helped, and for more science-backed videos for longevity and health, check my other videos too. Hope to see you in the next one.